Okay, we are now recording. This
Yay.
is a beautiful time with the wonderful Heidi. Tell me how you pronounce the surname. Tehana?
Hydee Tehana. Yes.
Tehana.
Tehana.
And Heidi is an amazing being, an extraordinary human who has written books. She has an amazing story to tell, her own personal story. And so, yeah, tell us a little bit more about the book Fire and Water.
Yeah. Well, it's called Fire and Water, Awakening the Dragon Within. And it's about my spiritual transformation and about my life being growing up in California to being a firefighter for the last 20 some odd years in a city fire department, and just the things I learned and the things that made me question life about, death and dying and being around that so often and seeing people, go in a lot of chaos and just a lot of, trying to be there to help. So while I was working there, it really made me question a lot of things that I was taught and my beliefs. And it actually, as my life started to fall apart with my ex-husband, I go through that whole thing of just how I also healed myself through different therapies, to just diving in and, wanting to know everything that's in the spiritual realm, to questioning religion, to questioning, just all the beliefs that we're brought up with, that our parents start teaching us, to the teachers, to, religion, to society. And so there's a big part of it is about around the fire department, but then there's also a big part of it around how I discovered what the dolphins bring to you, and being and swimming with the whales, or just talking to Mother Nature. I started talking to fire and talking to water, and I realized,
Yeah, tell us
we are
about
all
that.
one, right? Yeah. Well, just in regards to fire, I know one time I was, I used to have this mindset more of fire is the enemy, firefighters, we got to put it out, it's harming the forests and it's destroying our homes and things like that. And really, there was one time I was actually a fire captain. I'd been on maybe, 13, 14 years or so. And we were out of hose. We needed more water to continue to put the fire out. And so I sent my guys back. I was a fire captain. I sent my guys back to go get more hose. And I'm watching this fire being just, destroy these trees and engulf this brush. But I was stood back, and we were also protecting like these avocado fields and different things. And I just realized how beautiful and magnificent fire really is. And as I'm sitting there watching her, I had this thought, I could talk to her. I should ask her, why do you destroy all these things? So that's what I did. Is I just sat there and I said, fire, you're so beautiful. Why is it that you're so destructive, but you're so magnificent? Like, what is that? And I just got real quiet and just listened, and fire spoke back. And what I heard was, dive deeper. There's a bigger purpose for what we're doing here. We are transforming old energies, old dense energies, and not only do we destroy, but we also help with the rebirth, and we cleanse an area. And when I sat with all of that, it's like a flood of images came in my mind of different fires that I had gone on, where people couldn't let go of certain things. I can remember a particular one. A woman her husband had died, and she couldn't let go of all his stuff. And we went on a fire. There was a fire in the garage, and we were able to save the rest of her house, but everything in the garage was destroyed. And she came out and was telling me about it. And she said, all of my husband who had died, all his stuff was in the garage, and I could never get rid of it. And it, those kinds of things made me realize, wow, fire, is also, alive and doing what it's doing. But I also learned, and this is a lot of the things in my book, is water's alive, and they all want relationships with us. Mother Nature's alive, the air's alive. And if we can learn how to remember to have a relationship with it, well, I feel like we wouldn't have these super destructive storms and fires and things, because we would be in relationship and know, that's how the indigenous people works, is they talk to Mother Nature, right? I mean,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely.
So
This is
I feel
ancient alchemy.
that's it. It really is. And that's what I realized as you were talking about, your 108-day project, and just being in that still place for a minute is it's really bringing us back and centering ourselves to allowing ourselves to know. And I feel like when we do that, we expand. And as we expand, I feel like it's like the I am can come in, the source can come in, and because that's what we all are. And, just like all the elements of nature, or, this room, it's like everything is alive and listening, right? So when we get still, it's like we can hear the bigger presence if we just stop our noisy mind. That's what sometimes I put my hand on my heart sometimes, because this is my like Stargate. This is my portal to going inward. And when it gets me out of my head, especially with all this craziness in the world, right? Well, how do you
It's
feel about that?
true.
Do you feel?
It's so true. One other thing that I feel is really important to remember is that we can do that at any time. Like you could do that, you could find that stillness and listen to the fire in the middle of this, as you say, this huge, what is that called? A firestorm.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, obviously you're a fighter, and your work is to, as you say, go and quench the fires with the element of water, and yet in the middle of it all, you run out of water, and you give yourself that time to go within, to sit in the seat of the soul, as it were, and
yeah,
wow, be in awe of nature and of the elements, and just to hear the message from fire. I mean, that is life
yeah.
transforming. Just listening, I can't only
Mm.
imagine what it must have felt for you to know that truth, that to know that connection. And as you say, you continue the connection with all of life, and the beautiful beings of the sea, the
Yeah.
dolphins and the whales. So tell us more about that, about the
Oh,
the
wow.
beings.
Yeah, swimming in the ocean is really like it's another world, and I feel like a lot of us don't have any idea that that's, to me, feels like a way that we can connect to the cosmos and to other worlds. Is, to me, those dolphins they're multidimensional. I mean, they're out of this world, and they are really truly reminding us who we are with their sonar and their joy and the play, and they're just in the moment. And the way that they just come in, and they're totally telepathic. In fact, I can remember the first time I swam with the wild dolphins. They play this leaf game where they put a leaf on their pec fin, sometimes, or they'll put it on their nose or on their tail, and then they'll drop it for you, and you're supposed to go and you grab it, and then you let it go, and so you go back and forth like a game of catch or fetch. And I remember thinking that when I first saw a few dolphins, I saw a leaf on its pec fin, and I was like, "Oh, you have a leaf. Do you want to play the leaf game?" And the dolphins, there was like three of them, they just swam by. Well, I saw this one dolphin come right straight up to me and drop the leaf right in front of me, and I was like, "Oh, you heard me. You knew oh my gosh." And I went to go and dive down and grab it, and just before I got there, that dolphin came back and grabbed it from me. And anyway, we just laughed and played. And so I realized, as they're playing with us, they're also downloading information, and they're reminding us who we are. And I feel like not only do the ocean beings do that, but when we play with our dogs or our cats, I feel like, they're doing that too. There's an energy that Mother Nature is giving off, their consciousness. And I truly feel like, everything's alive and listening, and we often forget that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love
So
that
powerful.
everything is alive, everything is
Yes,
conscious. And if only we are still enough and aware enough, right? That,
absolutely.
like sometimes I want to talk about consciousness and awareness, and what's the difference?
Yes.
Are they the same? And it seems to me that we can have levels of consciousness, but awareness is when we are so present. Like
Mm,
you could have seen that dolphin come at you and drop the leaf and not realize a second before you had the thought of asking them, do you want to play? You know, because if
Right.
you weren't present enough, you wouldn't have thought to, or rather, you wouldn't have realized that you had a thought even, you know?
True. So true.
So I feel this is another, a really good pointer for us at this time is we can tune in into our own really inner knowing, our own point of balance, no matter what is going around us, like at any
Absolutely.
willed instant. And
Absolutely.
also to be aware enough to realize that the whole universe, the whole of nature, everything around us is talking to us, is informing us, and we are
Absolutely.
also informing it, right? And we're
Yes.
leaving something for future generations. So your joy in the ocean is like a vibration that, you know, is going on wherever that water touches. And awareness, I think it's a marvelous thing, but it's also such a responsibility sometimes, I think, you know, when we are aware that we are aware.
Yes.
Then
Right.
awareness brings this right, then awareness brings this whole other world. It's like, wait a minute, where was I all this time, right?
Absolutely. Well, and then that's what I feel too is as you become aware, it's almost like that I am, that source merges with you, and it's the two of you become one. Uh, and it's almost like you, I don't know, it's almost like I wonder, is this how like some of the shamans and the indigenous people like shape shifted? Is that how they knew the other, what the others were feeling, you know, or what the trees were feeling? Because I mean, trees are magnificent too. I've talked to trees since I was a kid and I absolutely love them. I mean, talk about consciousness and the energy they hold. And I was just thinking of my appreciation for them. Like, they give us, you know, the homes that we live in, or the tables that we eat on, or paper, or I mean, it can go on and on of the shelter and the shade, and they give us the, you know, birds to live in. I mean, to, you know, all of these things. They're the ones that call in the rain, and here we are, you know, killing them and chopping them down. And I always remember this story a friend of mine told me about this logger that all of a sudden had this massive awakening of consciousness. He went to go and cut down trees, and he started his normal day and was working, and all of a sudden he started to hear the trees screaming, and he was like, what? And it freaked him out so bad, and every time he went to go and cut down a tree he could hear it scream. And he ended up quitting that day. None of the other guys heard it, but he realized, oh my gosh, these are sentient beings, these are alive. And it's like, that's what I want, you know, us, or I feel like we're going back to having that relationship. If we do need to kill an animal to eat, or to chop down a tree for shelter, talk to that soul, talk to that spirit, and ask permission, because, you know, they're alive just like we are alive. And for some reason, I feel like we've forgotten that, you know. It's like, how do we get back to that alignment? And I feel like that's truly where we're going. And that's why I feel like the more we talk to Mother Nature, the more we, you know, go swim in the ocean, just go for a hike and be in Mother Nature, just go listen and go within. You know, I feel like we can start to hear the other levels, the elementals. Like when we were in Ireland together, there's all of those leprechauns and other realms, right, in the fourth dimension. And it's like, they're also reminding us that we have our galactic friends, our ET friends are right there, you know, and they want to
Absolutely.
have communication with us. The Palladians, the Arcturians, all of these beings, you know, are reminding us, hey, you guys are star seeds. You're not, you know, you're from the stars. We have that, you know, activation
Yeah.
within us. So,
Yes.
and I feel like you said,
Absolutely.
it's that 1 minute. I mean, even if it's just for, you know, take 10 seconds, you know, to just be in that alignment. And it's like we were just talking before we started recording, like, one person in alignment with source is more powerful than a million that are not. Like, that says how powerful we are, how our thoughts are, you
Absolutely.
know.
Absolutely. And it's time to remember that. It's time to remember that we are so powerful.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And the way we see the world changes changes our own world, but changes the world itself, because the moment that we change the perception, we choose different choices, right? We choose to be more in alignment and more in balance, because how could we not? Once we hear a
Absolutely.
tree speak, or once we realize that we are in symbiotic alignment with the earth, or an animal, or
Right.
yeah, the stars.
Well,
Absolutely.
absolutely. And I feel like, I mean, that's why I wrote, like we were talking about earlier, those other couple books about just my other book, What If Belief Systems Are Just BS? It's like we are taught right from little kids, like this is right, this is wrong, this is how you believe, this is what you do. And it's like, it wasn't until years later when life stopped making sense. My dad was always like, just get the good job, have kids, have a great house, have money, this, and I realized there was a big sense of myself that wasn't happy, and there was something missing within. And it was when I started to go and move through some of my trauma, it was like all of my blinders, really came off. And I was like, oh, there's a whole nother world out here. You start questioning your beliefs and what you're taught. And so that's what my other book is about, is like, when you start to do that, life becomes magical. Like you take off all limits, all boundaries. There's so much out there. And I feel like we're at the precipice right now of all of us remembering who we truly are and getting out of that old paradigm, that old way of thinking of, hey, we go to work, we got to go to school or whatever it is. We got to be entertained, and we come home, we go to sleep, and then we just do this over and over and over again. And it's like, no, we're here to expand consciousness. Like, what else is out there? Like, what else can we imagine for this world? Because, we don't have to work all the time. Like, what if we didn't need money? What if we had a society that didn't need money, or that didn't have to work 9 to 5, or where everybody was doing what they loved? They're doing their passion, right? We could change the
Amazing.
world overnight if we all like really got on that wavelength, like your 108-day project. I mean,
Amazing.
it's
It's,
beautiful.
it's a beautiful thought. It's a beautiful thought that we could get there. And so we're doing this for 108 days, as you know, which is a sacred number. And we're going into
Yes.
all the way into the solstice. And the solstice is such a powerful alignment between the sun and the earth. And
Mm,
this, apparently this year, it's oh, what's it called? A cosmic, I think it's called a cosmic cross, where the sun moves in, I think it's called a heliacal path.
okay.
And then galactic center has a pathway where we can align to it. And so the sun and galactic center align on the 21st of December this year,
Oh,
creating this, I think
wow.
it's called a cosmic cross. So
Okay.
not only we are in the powerful time of solstice where the sun rises and sets at the same time. So just to mention that we are also going into being more conscious and aware of the energies of the sun and beyond the
Yes.
sun,
Mm,
through what beyond our universe. So literally through cosmic consciousness, as we
wow.
are, coming towards the solstice. So it is
It's a
absolutely an
super
exciting,
powerful time.
if we are aware, right? I mean, things will happen
Right.
anyway, but if we're aware,
Sure.
we can put like, I want to say seeds, like some kind of seeding for what comes next, and you are a mother, I am a mother. Even if we don't have physical children, we're all connected to a child, right? So I
Indeed.
always feel that at the end of the day, when we put our head on the pillow, I hope that we can all say to ourselves, I did do something for the future of humanity, for the future of my child, or my child's child, or my nephew, or my niece, or the little child that smiled at me this morning. Because it's not just us, right? It's not really about us. And yet we
Yeah.
have the power in this moment to be the difference. So I am so honored to be talking to you, and thank you so much for having listened, for having given yourself that one moment of fullness and presence that you could allow yourself to then receive information and bring the beautiful books that you're now sharing with us all. So tell us how anybody listening to this can find you and find your books.
You could go to my website, which is hydeetehana.com. It's HYDEETEHANA.com. You can also find me on Facebook. And you can, let's see, I'm redoing my website right now, but I have, you can download an ebook from my website, or you can just go to Amazon and you can find those 3 books. I'm currently working on 2 other books. The next one in my What If series is going to be all about the galactics and connecting to our multidimensionality, and try to really simplify it, but also say so much from what my experiences are from hearing and talking to the galactics, and then working on the sequel to my Fire and Water book. So yeah, doing those kinds of things and just bringing that out. But yeah, you can connect with me on either my website or Facebook, and yeah, so that's how to get a hold of me. And I also offer sessions, so people, if they're looking to step into their power and to get out of that fear place, because there is so much unknown going on the world right now, I just offer sessions to help people get back into their heart, to find their passion, to move through some of that fear. And you know, being a licensed therapist, that's also helped giving me a background, as much as also, you know, just loving to help people and talk to people. So thanks for giving me a platform to also talk and just bring this out. So
It's
so
amazing.
appreciate everything you're doing.
It's amazing to hear all that you are sharing. So thank you so much. And is there one more thing that you wanna leave with us? I know you gave us so much wisdom. Is there one more thing for this moment?
Let's see, one more
As
thing
we're all navigating through 2020 and all our own individual experiences.
I would just say, you know, when we feel that fear, because fear is such an energy that really pushes us back and knocks us off of our alignment, that when we feel that fear, to pay attention, because typically it's the mind that gets going, right? Oh, what am I going to do? Or how am I going to react? Just stop for a moment and put your hand on your heart and feel that connection, because there really is a somatic energy that it helps us to just calm down when we put our hands on our heart. And truly, I mean, you know this, Anouk, because we have so much help out there on other realms, and all we have to do is ask. And you can just put your hand on your heart and just say, I need some help, please, thank you. And you'll have all your spirit guides, all the different helpers of whatever it is you need. And just, you know, that's one thing that I really learned is, I still feel fear, but when it's that key is like what you talked about, that awareness to pay attention to that energy of, oh my gosh, because it could feel very overwhelming. But when you get in your heart space, you can find that love and that connection to source and all of that help that's out there. And, you know, we got this. We can transform this world, because truly it's just one paradigm falling away, and all of us are remembering, oh my gosh, this is why we're here right now, is we decided to be here for this huge shift in consciousness. And that's what's happening, people. I know there's a lot of chaos, but it's because the old system's falling away and the new system is, you know, we are creating it. Like, what do you want to create? That's what excites me.
Absolutely. And it's changing the feeling of fear into that feeling of excitement, that kind of kind of butterflies in the stomach, and not knowing what's coming next, but turning it into the potential of great change and great possibilities.
That's absolutely true. Thank you, Anouk.
So much.
Thank you, everybody.
Yes, this was delicious and wonderful. And I am looking forward to reading all of your books.
Yay. And I look forward to the next time I get to go on a trip with you and you get to take me to some sacred sites, whether it's France or Ireland or Egypt or wherever you're going to take amazing people.
This will be amazing. I will hold on to that beautiful thought. So
Yay.
much love, beautiful one. So much love,
Mm.
Heidi. Thank you so much. I have my cat here trying to jump. So let him say hello because maybe he has something
Oh,
to
hi,
say.
beautiful.
He had a meow.
Yeah. Oh,
So much
sweetheart.
love. Thank
All
you.
right.
Have
All
a
right.
beautiful evening in
Thanks.
Hawaii.
Thank you.
Much
You
love.
enjoy Egypt. Love you too.
Bye bye.
Bye.